there's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, Lord. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, when my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, Lord. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of love, when my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place with your atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. Presence, Lord. Presence, Lord. Presence, Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence, Lord. Presence, Lord. Presence, Lord. Your presence, And introducing Anthony Prado.
Well, good morning. Good morning. First of all, I want to say Happy Mother's Day. Um, I honor and revere and respect the divine feminine in every one of us. I mean, there are those among you who are biological mothers, but I believe every woman has motherly tendencies. Today is a beautiful day for to honor the divine feminine in all of us. And secondly, Kev and Choice, you did it again. Thank you for setting up. That was a beautiful song. That was really set the tone for me, for the message, and for the atmosphere we want to have in our service here today. And welcome. Welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where we teach spiritual principles and practices that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with God. Someone put in the chat, and thank you to the men who fill the roles as mothers. Absolutely. And that's what I meant by the divine feminine in every one of us. There are men who are mothers. Absolutely. And welcome to our Zoom meeting today. Glad you're here supporting us, joining us, participating, getting spiritually fed. We hope that is the case with you, and we hope you will be inspired by the end of the message today by Reverend Savannah. And a special welcome to those of you joining us for the first time. I don't know how you found us, but thanks for joining us. We certainly appreciate you being here. If you'd like to connect with us, I have an email address here. Constance Chapman is our administrative coordinator, and she is at Constance@OaklandCSL, that's all one word, at oaklandcsl.org. And you can also go to the website, oaklandcsl.org. In order to maintain a sacred atmosphere this morning, I invite you to please take a moment to make sure your Zoom microphone and your Zoom camera are turned off. I know we have our speakers every now and then who come on and say, hey, turn on your cameras. So they certainly have that liberty to say that. And they want to feel the connection with all of you. But for the most part, you know, we would like the microphone and the camera turned off. So now we're going to bless our children, as we do every week. And this is blessing the children and blessing the mothers.
We honor
all our youth and children in our community,
and the world. We love you.
We see
you.
You are spirits give to us. Thank you for being in our lives. And so it is. All right, so I have a few announcements as usual. Next Wednesday, practitioner Doug Myers will be conducting the Wednesday night service. He will be continuing the talk on revolutionary love. The meditation is at 6:30. The service is at 7 o'clock. Our next announcement is getting help in the garden. The dry season is, you know, we didn't get a whole lot of rain this last winter. I don't know if you noticed. I do gardening, and my plants are missing it. So our plants are missing it there at the center. You can see Margot in the picture. She needs help getting watering done on a regular basis. If you would like to help with this, we certainly would appreciate your service. And to contact Margot or Zoe, check the Village News for contact information. And Village News is that weekly email. And you can, so go there. And then in our next announcements, as you know, if you've read the letter sent out by the ELT and the board, Reverend Soni Cantrell Smith will be our temporary minister for 2 months to help us move forward as a village of revolutionary love. She'll be available right after this Sunday service for a meet and greet and a Q&A. And I'm going to turn it over now to Reverend Soni, and she's going to have some information to share with you.
Good morning, beloveds, and happy Mother's Day. It's my pleasure and my honor to be supporting Oakland CSL for the next couple of months. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you and saying hello, as well as answering any questions that you all may have regarding some of the work that we'll be doing together in the next couple of months. I hope to see you after this wonderful service with Reverend Savannah. I'll be with you for about 30 minutes, so see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction, Reverend Soni. And as always, information about what's happening at the center is on our website. And I mentioned the website earlier, again, oaklandcsl.org. We have many more groups, ministries, and events happening at the center. Again, the website is our source of information. And lastly, we want to read our vision statement for the Oakland Center for Spirituality. And if you will just read along with it, the vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play. And so it is. So I will now pass the spotlight on to our practitioner, Teresa Gardner. Thank you, and have a great week.
Well, thanks, Anthony. Wonderful. Well, my name is Teresa Gardner, and I'm a licensed prayer practitioner here at our beautiful village. And happy Mother's Day to each one of us. Happy celebration of the divine feminine in all of us. So we have a couple of readings today, as we normally do. And if you follow along, you can just settle in. I'll read them out loud, and you can just settle in and close your eyes if you want. The first one's by Ernest Holmes. The spiral of life is upward. Evolution carries us forward, not backwards. Eternal and progressive expansion is its law, and there are no breaks in its continuity. It seems to me that our evolution is the result of unfolding consciousness of that which already is and needs but to be realized to become fact in everyday life. That was perfect. The next reading is by Tracy Brown. Oneness is a spiritual truth. It is a principle that is absolute. And when we live our lives from the truth of oneness, we are spiritually guided to demonstrate love and respect. So just taking a breath as we bless this beautiful service. Knowing that the Divine Mother, also known as Sophia, other names, love. The Divine Mother is present right here. This is the eternal one that is always present. That love that sustains, supports, and blesses all of its creation. All life is this one beautiful presence of love that pours its heart into and as all its creation, that blesses this beautiful service today, blesses it with a harmony and oneness and coming together in that love, letting go of anything, and like this beautiful blessing of the true nature of who we are as a center, that we are the beloved. We are the beautiful, beloved community. And we are whole and perfect and complete. I bless this beautiful wisdom that flows through with such ease through Reverend Savannah, lighting us up, grounding us in this love. I bless all that come together to hear this wisdom, to let their hearts fill with into overflowing abundance of beauty and harmony. And I bless Reverend Soni as she speaks her word and beautiful welcoming that we greet her with, and know that this is certainly a blessing, certainly an offering of love, that Reverend Jeff is present right here in our hearts. I bless us through the Divine Mother that is present within each of us here. And it is good. I'm thankful, and we celebrate this. And so it is. Oh. Okay, we have our wonderful musicians again. Lukman, Frank, and Kev Choice. Thanks.
This dedicated to all the mothers, all the mothering, all the motherers, Mother Earth, all the wisdom, all the knowledge, all the guidance. Sorry about that. Can you see us? Hey. Can you see us?
Yes, we can.
All right. Can you see us? Yes, we can. Can you see us? Yes, we can. Can you see us? Said a small boy once asked, when will I grow up? When will I see what grown-ups do see? Inspired to come of age, he would act in all the range to be recognized quite another man. And Mama used to say, take your time, young man. And Mama used to say, don't you rush to get old. And Mama used to say, take it in your stride. And Mama used to say, live your life, live your life. As the years were rushing by, he would cut down on his age. He would tell this girl of how it used to be, how his mama passed away. But these lines she would say, at the time he couldn't understand. And Mama used to say, take your time, young man. And Mama used to say, don't you rush to get old. And Mama used to say, take it in your stride. And Mama used to say, live your life, live your life. Yeah, Mama used to say, you're young, so young, son, don't hold back. Do what you want to do. Now is the time for you to strive for you to get better in what you are doing. Mama used to say, Mama used to say, hey, mama, mama, mama. What's good, Mom? How's heaven treating you? Know it's been a minute, and lately I've been needing you. Ever since you left, I know that all my moves is pleasing you. Hope you had good times, God to see me through. You and Grandma told me that. How she been doing, huh? Hope she proud of me. I'm in these churches playing music. Still say my praise over a greater food. Still say my grace over a plate of food. Give thanks. Know your foundation was spiritual, and that was my base. World crazy as ever, but I'm in your grace, and I'm in your space. And I feel your presence, and I feel your essence, and I feel your lessons. Every time it's blessing, and I know I'm stressing, but I know you with me, and I can't be tested. All the mothers out there beautiful, you do things for us that's so unusual. I hope you feel gratitude today. I hope you feel love, and I hope you feel grace, and I hope somebody cook for you, take you out, let you know what real love is about. All the mothers in the house, yo, you know we appreciate you, and everything you do for us, and your love and your trust and your guidance and your strength, yeah. All the mothers in the house, yeah, you know we appreciate you. Even those the ones that we have lost, we still feel your presence in our heart, yeah. And Mama used to say, that you can do anything, and you can be anything, yeah. And Mama used to say, spread love all around the world. Believe in God and let Him guide you every day. She used to read the Bible every morning, hey. She said, make sure you memorize all the verses in the morning, yeah. She said that God will be your strength every day, yeah. That's the things that stay in our heart for all our life, y'all. Take your time, young man. Don't you rush to get home. Take it in your stride. Live your life. Live your life. Live your life. Give me life, yeah. Mother Earth, Mother God, Mother Spirit. Give thanks. And now we turn it over to the amazing, the blessed. Welcome back, welcome home, Reverend Savannah.
Gosh, thank you, Kev. Thank you, Luke. So I can't see all of you. I feel like I'm talking to a wall of silence. So could you turn on your videos for a moment so that I can see your beautiful faces? Let us say hello to one another, or I will just say hello to you. Let me just see your faces. You can stay muted. Awesome. It's been so long since I've seen you all. Hi. Wow, so lovely. All right, good. See, this helps. This helps create some energy here on the Zoom. All right, you may turn your videos off. Thank you so much. Good morning, Oakland. This is my other home, and I am so grateful to be with you this morning. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms, all of those who are in the role as mom. I definitely miss my mama today. And it's my honor and joy to be with you this morning to give you this message. Let me make sure I have the right view here. All right, it is sunny here in Seattle, which is rare for us. So I'm enjoying this beautiful sunshine coming in through my windows. And I have a talk for you this morning that is about revolutionary love. The theme of this month is about holy, holy uprising and revolution. And Matt Kahn, who's one of my favorite writers, he wrote a book called Loving, I think it's called Love What Arises. And he says that the true benchmark of spiritual maturity is how often your words and actions are aligned with love. And what I recognized in my life is that much of life's discoveries did not come from one mystical event in my life, but from a lifetime of realizations and demonstrations over time. I was just telling a friend that contrast is a beautiful teacher for us because it shows us where we've been and it shows us where we want to go. And I was contemplating this time right now, which is for so many of us, a time of release. It's a time of letting go. It's a time of surrender. And that Ricky Byers song that we've been singing for 20 years, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Have you ever thought about those words that you're singing? I release, I let go, I'm letting the Spirit guide my life. I am trusting in something far more powerful than the egoic mind, than the circumstances or the conditions that are happening in the world. And my heart is open wide because I'm only here for God. And so I think of that song because it reminds us how often in life we are given this invitation, an invitation to stop resisting, the things that are happening in life and to truly let go. And in this entire past year and into this year, we were practically forced to let go of so much, of so many things, of the normalcy of people that we love, of the way that life looked, how we thought life should be. We've had to let go of jobs and relationships changing. And so much of this has seemed out of our control. We have had to let go of someone so dear to us, Reverend Jeff Anderson, in this community. And, you know, I look back at moments in my life where if I could have just let go more, if I could have just allowed and given it over to Spirit, life would have been so much more easier, right? It would have been a lot easier if I had just stopped resisting. And there is this natural flow and this rhythm to life when we stop resisting what is coming. Because on the spiritual path, we are asked to love despite the appearances. We are asked to love whatever comes up, to love, as Ricky Byers would say, or Reverend Michael would say, in the let go. To love in the let go. And so I'm reminded when I first came to Oakland Center, right as Reverend Jeff had come into the community, I remember attending a Wednesday night service. And I remember it so vividly and so clearly because I was taking notes in my phone. And the words that came out of his mouth at that point in time were so profound to me because of what was happening in my life. And I remember he said that he lived his life by four concepts, 4 ideas. And if this was the only thing that I took away from this service, then it would be enough. And so as I was preparing for my talk this morning, I scrolled through my phone to find those notes from 2015. And there they were. And this is what he said. He said, if you could just remember these 4 things: God is all there is. Love is the greatest power there is. Life knows how to do life. And life is always moving towards a higher, greater expression of itself. God is all there is. Love is the greatest power there is. Life knows how to do life, and life is always moving towards a greater and higher expression of itself. And so how do we love something? How do we love a situation or someone when we've been hurt, when we've been disappointed, when we've been betrayed, when we've been overlooked, or quite possibly feel abandoned? How do we love a situation that feels so hard and painful? More oftentimes than not, I find that this is one of the great obstacles in life, is to love everything as it is and as it is not. And perhaps that is yours as well. We think that there is this need for us to protect our hearts from heartbreak, from disappointment, from letting people in. And our culture and our experience and our media tells us this of how to think and to feel. It has given us this romanticized version and narrative about the perfect romantic love, about stories of what it means to be to live a solitary life, perhaps stories of what a good friend or a good coworker is. And what I know is that part of our nature, that reptilian brain of ours, is that we in some ways fall back on that survival, right? On that reactivity when we are faced with threat or conflict. And so we've been conditioned into states of reactivity to the world of effect, to our surroundings, to potential threat and danger. But what if the practice we are called to be more about is to love what arises despite the appearance? Loving our grief, loving our confusion, loving the unknown, loving that we are alive. And so let us just take a breath with that right now. So just take a breath with me. And this church, this community, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, is in the midst of a time of transition, of grief, of unknown. And with that comes an array of feelings, of emotions and thoughts. And so can we practice loving one another in that grief, in whatever emotion comes up, in that anger, in that confusion, in the fear of what is to come? Can we love each other into what is possible for this community? Can we practice as we go through this coming year, as these next stages present themselves to us? Can we practice loving what shows up in the mess? Perhaps it is the beautiful mess, the unknown, the uncertainty. Some people may or may not know this, but for many years, I have lived with anxiety. I have always been a sensitive person. I was a very sensitive and emotional child. I was quite intuitive. And I can recall as a little girl, my mom would put me in counseling for a lot of trauma, a lot of childhood trauma that I had with my father. And, having lived through an abusive upbringing in some ways with him, both my parents were divorced as I was a small baby. And there was a lot of toxicity and a lot of drama. And as a very young, I would say 6 or 7-year-old, I was sleepwalking a lot. I was wetting the bed often. And most of this started to happen after I returned from a church camp, a Methodist church camp, where I was told that if I didn't accept Jesus into my heart, I was going straight to hell. I'm sure some of you here might resonate with some of this. And so as a child, I literally believed it. And I would have nightmares over it. And because I was so sensitive and intuitive, I was actually more aware than I knew as a little one. And so when I was ever in trouble, my mom would send me to my room for a timeout, right? And I remember I was not quite the introvert that I am now. I was quite the extrovert, and I wanted to be out in the world and to be with my friends. And so I would constantly be opening the door, and I would peek open the door and I'd say, "Can I come out now? Can I come out now?" Like I just could not be alone in my room because I had to see what I was missing. But what I recognized about this experience much later in my life is that it was actually a stress response. It was a stress response to the fear of being left behind. And so for many years, I learned to navigate and to cope with my surroundings, how to be small, how to be quiet, how to tiptoe if need be. And that meant that I was living in a constant state of survival, of fight or flight, of an ongoing traumatic state, which for anyone, if you've been through this, can leave lasting consequences. So it was that feeling of not being safe, of I can't be authentic, I can't speak and use my voice, I am not supported. And so for many of you, you may understand this, you may resonate with this, you may have had this experience in your own life. And so you can imagine what it is like then to be told, just love what arises. Keep your heart open, as it is somewhat counterintuitive if you have this kind of conditioning. But we are being called to keep our hearts open, most especially during this time of change, of great change and transition, to let our minds be open to the possibility for the vision of this community here in Oakland, of the expansion that wants to happen, to remember and to keep fresh before us why this community is so special to us. It has taken me many years of unraveling of my life and all of the unconscious patterns and the beliefs to really have, and I'm still working on it, a surrendered heart. It has required a lot of self-love, a lot of introspection, a lot of learning what my coping mechanisms are, what my attachment styles are from my trauma, and using our principles to bring myself to a place of equilibrium and to a deeper knowing. And so I think of that visual of a little child who's hidden away in a winter cave, covered in snow, coming out of the darkness, walking into the light, opening the door as the icicles are falling all around, frozen over greenery, and I'm tiptoeing through the snow, eager to experience this new journey, wondering, what is out here? What is this out here in this terrain? And that still small voice whispers, you can come out now. It's safe to come out. But why, you might ask? Well, what I didn't know then that I have come to remember and to remind all of us here is that Ernest tells us that love is the self-givingness of the Spirit. It is our essential nature to love. We were born from love and we will die from love. And beyond all of the conditioning, beyond all preconceived beliefs of unworthiness or doubt or separation, there is within each and every one of us a divine spark that has never been hurt, never been betrayed, never been harmed, never been left behind. And that is your essential self. It is that North Star. It is that one power, that one presence that manifests itself in, through, and as all of life and all beings. And the love that it is transcendent. It is transcendent love. And this is the love of God as our lives. And so we get to remind ourselves today that it is safe to love. It is good to remember that despite loss, despite the appearance of an ending, love still always remains, always. It is safe to open my heart to others because I remember the stardust that I made of, that God stuff that I was made of. And as I know my relationship is ultimately to myself, therefore my higher power then is the way. Your higher power is the way. And this relationship is the most important one that we get to cultivate. It is the only thing that we get to cultivate. And so can we move into not only loving things as they are, but into that place of that surrendered heart? Can we walk through the world in our days with a surrendered, open heart, knowing that God's got this whole thing? God's got you. I have to remind myself that. We can say that together. God's got me. Spirit, love, life, divine intelligence, wisdom has got us. And so we get to ask, we get to claim it, we get to proclaim it, we get to be about it, we get to speak it and know what it is that we're seeking, not only in our individual lives, but for this community, for this Oakland community, as we continue evolving and growing together. And a surrendered heart does not mean that we acquiesce to people's demands or expectations of us. It does not even mean defeat or giving up. It means that we trust in a power of love and the power of life that is working in, through, and as us, and allowing the law, as we say, to make the way possible. We don't question gravity. We don't question electricity or whether the planets are going to stay in their orbits. And so we have to remind ourselves that the presence is never an absence. The presence is your very life. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, the law makes the way possible and love is spontaneous. The law is impersonal. So the action of the law never changes, but the direction of the action is always up to us. What does this mean? It means that we are always at choice as how we wish to direct this power, how we wish to put our attention, where you wish to put your attention on what is absolutely possible. And we do this through loving what comes up, and we do this through our surrendered heart. When the heart is closed, the head often overthinks, it overfunctions. I don't know about you, but I tend to be an overfunctioner a lot of the time because I want some sense of control. When we're living in that space of fight or flight, like many of us, it's that anxiety and that hypersensitivity. Our hearts are closed. It becomes so much more difficult to calm the nervous system, to breathe. And so not only do we tend to our hearts, but we tend to our overactive mind. I often will overthink and obsess when I feel that I have no control over the outcome, over the next stage, over the next direction in my life, when life feels so uncertain. And so our job, as I see it, is not to pry open our hearts and force our minds into some sort of submission, but rather it is the invitation to recognize that everything, all of the activity, the overthinking, all of it is an opportunity to love more. So the noise in your mind is almost like this alarm clock that invites you back to loving more, reminding ourselves over and over again. It's like soothing a child's needs with that listening heart, with comfort, with safety. And so we do this by loving ourselves more. And we discover safety by slowing down the breath. We notice if we're breathing shallow. And as we breathe a little bit deeper, as we breathe more slowly, as our breath slows down, the heart will start to open. And then we come into that place of stillness and that place of silence. And that is the merging of the mind and the heart. It is how we can awaken to that relationship with the divine. And so loving things as they are invites us to more patience. It invites us to acceptance. It invites us to more compassion and forgiveness. It invites us to more space for those people who might be experiencing divided unconsciousness. They might be experiencing a completely different contrast of emotions and feelings. It invites us to see the polarity that when someone is in a different frame of us, we can hold the opposite state. That is what this teaching offers us. It is the practice to recognize that regardless of someone else, regardless of what their experience, it does not have to limit me because it does not have power or dominion over me or my thoughts. And so when my reactivity starts to arise and my mind wants to be overreactive, then the practice is loving what arises and just holding myself compassionately, giving myself permission to be in the world without having to be victimized by all of those characters out in the world. It's what Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith talks about, of moving from Kingdom 1 consciousness from a victim state to moving into a co-creative state where life is happening by us and through us and as us. Many years ago, gosh, I don't even know now how long, one of my great teachers who was like a father to me, Reverend Nirvana Gale, I remember that no matter what was happening in my life, no matter how much turmoil I found myself in, no matter what I threw at him, he was always able to merge the two. He was always able to come from a higher place of consciousness. And I thought that somehow he was some Jedi master because he could use the power of the Force literally to energetically squash any doubt, any fear, any self-victimization that I was holding by the power of his words and just his knowing, just his presence. I would find myself in his presence wanting to say, yeah, but, and fight for those limitations. And I would fight him on it, and he would laugh. He would laugh out loud. If you knew Nirvana, you know that big laugh, because he was this walking embodiment of love. And even on his deathbed, I went to visit him in Los Angeles, and I knew something within me knew that it was probably the last time that I would see him. He still had a smile on his face, and the focus was still on me. He would say to me, "What you got going, baby girl?" And I still am in awe of that, because he never was in anguish. At least he didn't show it outwardly of his own personal experience. His focus was still on up-leveling and uplifting his vibration. And I still feel him now. It's almost like he's closer now across the veil than he ever was before in my life. I love how that is. And so can we fall in love with the moment, with life as it is? Can we fall in love with this process, this beautiful mess, trusting that there is something greater coming in? Our teaching tells us that there is no obstruction to the divine pattern that is happening in your life. We might see them as obstacles, but there is something greater that wants to be known and to be made manifest. So can we make space? Can we make space for our sorrow, for our loss, for all the grief that we might be experiencing right now? Can we make peace with, this is where I am right now, and it's completely okay? Can I remind myself to think and act from a place of love first? A Course in Miracles reminds us, fear is a call for love. Matt Kahn said from his book, Whatever Arises, Love That. He says, I acknowledge that it is essential for the evolution of my being to slow down the pace of my life, no matter the pressures that call out for my attention. In support of my highest evolution, I accept that life will create whatever reality is necessary to give me countless opportunities to reunite with my heart. And as I slow down, I welcome the choices that only my heart knows are aligned with the highest perfection of the universe. In discovering my heart as my home that I never left, I allow my true innocent nature to feel safe enough to merge into the light of my being as the love that I am. And so take this with you today of our beloved Reverend Jeff. God is all there is. Love is the greatest power there is. Life knows how to do life, and life is always moving towards a higher, greater expression of itself. Let us go into prayer now. So taking that holy breath of life, just giving so much gratitude and thanks for the power and the wisdom and the intelligence that is right where we are. It is that holy breath, that Holy Spirit, that one power and presence that is living and breathing and moving as my very life. It is the words that are being spoken. It is every part of this beautiful service this morning. And as I know that this power and presence is the only thing there is, I know that it is actively working in, through, and as the life of each and every one of us. As beauty, as opportunity, as abundance, as success, as wholeness, of divine right action, as healing. It is that healing balm that comes in as grace and ease, as love, as joy, and as an abiding faith that everything is truly working together for good right here and now. And so releasing any sense of separation, releasing any sense of fear or doubt or worry, we come back to this knowing that the presence is never an absence, that the power of love is transforming any and all situations that might be heavy on our hearts this day, that we turn our attention to what is absolutely possible through our expanded consciousness, through our oneness, through our love of ourselves and one another. And so, giving thanks for this community, I read from our prayer list, holding these beloveds in our hearts, this month's nonprofit prayer partner, the Moyo Institute, which has a vision of making the world a better place. And they do this by creating consciousness, inner wisdom, achieving peace and equality and diversity, and building a world that is equal to everyone. For our planet, Mother Earth, I give gratitude for her beauty, for her resilience, and for our increasingly mindful stewardship of her. I bless our youth. I bless the youth of the world for the power that lives within them all. I know that they are guided by the loving mind and the heart of this one life. I bless all of those this day who are in service for a world, of creating a world that works for all people. I know that there is love and comfort and healing for all of those who are impacted this day by challenges in whatever form. And so I say their names aloud. We hold them in this prayerful place of love and healing. Tina Marie Scott, Alex Paulson and Eleanor Vincent, Dorothy Baker, Michael Mendez, Phyllis Volmy, Joan and John, Mercedes and Mateo Smith, all those who are impacted all over the world by any weather challenges, by COVID-19. I know that there is a peacefulness, that there is an ease and a grace that is happening for those who are in the midst of transition, who have maybe crossed beyond the veil. We hold the beloved Reverend Jeffrey Anderson and his family in our hearts. All of his friends, all of us here in this Oakland Center for Spiritual Living community. I know prayers for Harvey Frowenglass, the brother of Judith Frowenglass and family. Allison Montgomery, mother of Kai Bialo and family. Alberta Samuels, the aunt of Deborah Jackson and her family. I know a prayer of healing for Daryl Dinstead, who is one of our OCSL greeters and ushers. And I also hold in our hearts the beloved family of Reverend Linda Ripond, Matt and Megan, their entire family, for our beloved Walter Carlisle, as he is in the midst of making his transition. We know that there is an ease and a grace and a love that is absolutely present right here and now. And so for all of these beloveds, I invite you in this moment to say the name aloud of anyone in your heart that might need an extra prayer this day. And so giving thanks for this healing consciousness, for I know that love is the essential nature of who we are. I know that love is the greatest power. I give so much thanks. I give thanks and gratitude, and let us together as a community say, Ashe, Namaste, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. I love you all. I believe it is time for our offering. And so this is the moment where we really get to practice the law of circulation. We get to remember that as we give, we receive, and that this community is providing a service for us that we take part in, that we are actively practicing the law of circulation. And so if you have your gift, your treasure, your monetary funds, your money, whatever it is, we know that this is multiplied as we say this affirmation together. So please put your hand over your heart and say this aloud. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive, and so it is. Amen. And so now we turn it back over to our incredible musicians. Thank you, everyone.
Wow. Well, the musicians will be coming up, Reverend Savannah. That was really incredible. Thank you so much. Feel safe to open in love. What a nice invitation. What a beautiful, heartfelt invitation to open to love. Thank you for your vulnerability, and really was a good message for us today. I want to also thank all the, our musicians, Kev Choice and Luke Monfrank. Wow. We are so blessed to have such professional musicians that just speak so much from their heart, and they entertain us, but it's more than that. So thank you so much. And I just thank you everyone for coming today. This without you, it wouldn't be a village, a community. It takes each one of us here. So it's good to be here with you all. And I wanna, we've got Reverend Soni coming up, right? And then if you hang out after that, there'll be prayers. Zoe DeMuro is going to be hosting the prayer room, but Reverend Soni is going to be with us, like she said, for 30 minutes. But if you can't hang out for prayer until after Reverend Soni, then you can go to our website, which is oaklandcsl.org, and you can request a prayer there. You could also see the list of practitioners who are graciously giving their complimentary 30-minute practitioner session. So there's so much love to share here, and don't go away with something heavy on your heart today. Okay, join me now for our closing affirmation. It should be, there we go. All right, here we go. I am an ambassador of revolutionary love. And here we are. You can hear him. Here's Kev. Thanks so much. Stick around.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surrounds us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and sing amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Say amen. Say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Rest in God and say amen. you.
Amazing music. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for having me today. This was simply a time for me to introduce myself to you and to tell you a bit about who I am and why I am here for the next couple of months. First of all, Reverend Soni Cantrell Smith is my name, and I am in Lexington, Kentucky. I am on the Ministers' Council. I've served as the co-chair with Reverend Andriette Earl for almost 4 years, stepping down from co-chair this year so someone else could get some experience in that chair. I also do some part-time work with CSL, and I'm not an interim minister, I'm more of a first responder, if that makes sense. And primarily what I'm here to do is to support you all in healing and revealing the truth of your next vision and where you want to go as a family, as a village. You call yourselves a village. I love that. As a family, and what your next vision is for Oakland CSL. So some of the things that I'll be doing is working with your board of trustees, with your practitioners, the different teams that you have. I'm going to do a little speaking for you a couple of times, and that's pretty much it. But I also want you to know that we will be having some community meetings, so that my main purpose is transparency. And so I want everyone to understand that all of the things that are happening right now for Oakland and the loss of your minister, the transitions that you're all going through, that we're all going through, that we're going to do this together. And transparency is very important to me. So one of the things that I promise I'm going to do for this community is keep you informed on a weekly basis as to what's going on, how we're doing, and where we're going. I think this is really important, and you all have, you're all community members, and you are a part of all of the decision making. So if I can answer any questions for you or give you any more information, that's why I'm here. So I'm open, and if you want to raise your hand, or if you want to put a question in the chat, I can monitor that as well. And I say, let's go. By the way, Reverend Savannah, beautiful talk today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you don't have any questions, that's okay too.
I have a question. Hi. Oh, Christine, you want to go?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm in San Diego about to celebrate Mother's Day, but definitely with you all in Oakland in spirit. And I'm super jealous of the sunshine savvy because it is gray, May gray here in San Diego. My question for Reverend Sonia, welcome. Super grateful you're here. Is that when Reverend Joan left, I believe it was Kathy Hearn was able to come and did this beautiful fear to faith exercise about like all of our fears. And I know I have been grieving Jeff way more than I ever thought. It was kind of, I didn't even realize it, but he was like a mix between my beloved dad and uncle in the Bay. And to not have him here, to not be able to pop by his office and just see, you know, his VW bus in the parking lot. Like, I miss him and I love him. And I want to be open to the next minister. So yeah, however you can help with that. I don't know what the question is, but that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. One of the things that I'd really like to do is hold some listening circles. And the listening circles are primarily to support everyone in what, how they want to express their loss. You know, grief is not something that we get over. It's something that companions us the rest of our lives, and we use it. We learn to use grief and to work with it to really empower our lives. So it's really important that we get to talk about that, and that we get to honestly have a dialogue, or, you know, listening circles, not to fix anybody, but simply to listen to what y'all are going through. So I'm hoping that we can next week begin to set up some listening circles at different times, so that people can, you know, for some people who can't make certain times or certain days, can be there for other meetings. Does that help you and answer, I think, what I heard your question was? All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy San Diego. My son's down there. And somebody else had a question. Maureen. Yes,
Yeah.
Maureen.
Hi, Reverend Soni.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. So I just was wondering and wanted to ask because my brain, like, I don't know what I want to ask you right now, but maybe later I'm going to have some questions. How do I get a hold of you if I have questions or comments after this talk right now?
Great. You can reach me at, let me put it in the chat, Reverend Soni. Well, actually, I have 2 emails. I'll give you this one. It's ministercantrell@gmail.com. And I'm going to write that in there right now. ministercantrell@gmail.com. Just shoot me an email, and I've already been getting them. People have been finding me. I don't know how. I try to hide, but they found me, and I'm getting emails. Okay, so feel free.
Is it okay if I put that in the Village News for people?
Absolutely.
Okay. Perfect.
Thanks for asking, Constance. Will you be helping us with visioning for new minister? That will not be my purpose. Before you get a new minister, CSL will give you an interim minister that is going to help you vision for your new minister and do the co-creation process. They may pull in Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn to help you with the co-creation, or the interim minister will do that. My primary purpose is to support this community for the next couple of months in getting ready for that interim, and also supporting your teams, your practitioners, and your board of trustees, and all the teams that you all are working with.
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm curious to know, I know that historically this community has experienced many interim ministers, and I know and sense that there can be potential anxiety with that. Is an interim minister chosen by CSL specifically, or does the community have some input on what that looks like?
Well, the good news is the community has input, and that input is something that I'm going to work with so that I can make recommendations. You know, if I were to say one line of why I'm here to love you all up. That's why I'm here. I'm here to love you all up. And I would love to see an interim minister come in who's going to love you all up even more. Although that's pretty impossible when it comes to me. But, you know, I really want you to get the right fit. I think it's really, really important for a community to have the right fit in an interim minister. And I am going to do my darndest to make sure that that happens. I don't know my status here, but how much I'm permitted to be involved. What constitutes a member? I'm not sure what constitutes a member. Somebody else could probably address that because I'm not a member of your community. So does anybody want to address that question? And that was from
from John.
Yes, from John.
John, AKA Leto.
Reverend Soni,
Yes.
as part of the membership committee team, our requirements are that there are 2 membership classes that we offer, and each person attends both of those classes. And within those classes, there is a specific curriculum that we work with, that we give a back and forth of what membership really means, what the commitment is, how it can show up in your life, how you wish it to show up in your life. And we come from that and give some folks some time to really embody what being a member means. And it is in that period of time of embodiment, they get to say yes or no, I'm not ready. And when the yes comes, we do a wonderful ceremony to have people face the whole community, and the whole community embraces a new member. If they choose not to do it at that time, they are coming again to the next membership classes that come to see where they're at with that at that time. And we do one-on-one follow-up with new members who are choosing to become members. We assign a practitioner or somebody to be with them as they move through the opportunities that are offered at our wonderful center.
Great.
That's basically what we do.
Thank you so much for answering that question. And then who would he email to find out when the next class is coming up?
He could email Zoe.
Okay. Can you put that address in the chat? Thank you. 2 of our 4 staff ministers. Whoops, I missed that. Hang on here a second. We have not only lost Reverend Jeff, but also 2 of our 4 staff ministers. How will those 2 replacements be handled, and are you involved in that process? I am not. I am not involved in that process. So I cannot answer that question.
I could say one thing on that. There's not inherently a set number of staff ministers or even staff ministers. That's generally in fact, not generally, it is at the discretion of the senior minister. So the fact that we had 4 staff ministers doesn't necessarily mean we will go forward on that basis. I'm not sure how things would get handled in the interim, but ultimately that will be up to their new staff minister when they arrive.
Great. Thank you.
And I want to add, and maybe Beth and Larry can back me up, to our understanding, Reverend Tony's on a leave of absence. Isn't that what was we discussed on the board meeting, to my understanding? Yeah. So he's not indefinitely out.
I just wanted to say that for a good period of time, I was the only staff minister with Reverend Jeff, and then Reverend Jeff welcomed in additional staff members, Reverend Savannah, of course, and Reverend Tony, and then Reverend Sally. So there have been some changes. I do think we have some ideas cooking on what will come next as far as staff ministry.
Great, I love cooking.
And right now, Constance and I are serving as the ecclesiastical leadership team through June as originally planned. And we're very busy with that, I would say.
I would say.
Thank you.
And also, don't forget, you have a very active practitioner body. We're not ministers, but there are a lot of us like Zoe and Elena, like so many people who've stepped up. So, we've got your back in prayer, and we love you and we're here for you.
Oh my gosh, I love practitioners. I just love them. They're so amazing. And what a wonderful group of practitioners you all have. I mean, I'm just looking forward to being with them and working with them. Yes, it is being intentionally recorded for those who cannot be here today.
Yes, I also wanted to give kudos to our practitioners, our amazing body of practitioners. Thank you for that, Christine, because we really do have a fabulous group of dedicated individuals as the healing arm of this center, and everyone is working together so well during this time. So I think we're all looking forward to supporting you, Reverend Soni, and appreciate you being here with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who else? That's a burning question. Or maybe a match to get ready for that burning question.
I do. When?
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to ask when can we see you next? And then Lido had a question. Like
When can
you said next week is the healing you're going to offer?
No, what I was saying is what I'm hoping to do to set up with the E-team, with the practitioners and ecclesiastical team and the Board of Trustees, is to begin some community meetings with listening circles. And so I'm hoping to set up different days and different times. So I'm trying to work that out now, and I'll be working that out with your Board of Trustees and your practitioners, because I would like to have a practitioner with me for those individual services. And they're short, they're going to be 45-minute little circles, so that people can really say what they want to say, and without somebody else trying to fix them. Like I said, it's called listening circle for a reason. So it's important that people have the opportunity. So I'm hoping as soon as possible, we can start those circles.
Reverend Soni, I think it'd be good to mention your speaking engagements now too with the group, even though it's been sent out. Sometimes not everybody receives that.
I will be with you on the last Sunday of the month and the first Sunday in June. So I get to do two parts. I get to do part 1 and part 2. So if you don't like part 1 and you want to risk part 2, you can always come back for that. But if you love part 1, which I know you will, then you're going to want to hear part 2.
Going to be speaking on the last Wednesday of this month as well, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The last Wednesday of this month as well.
I had a quick question.
Okay.
Yes. How will we find out about the dates for the listening circles? And then also maybe could they possibly be done in place of the Wednesday meeting, since it's something we're regularly attending anyway?
No, I would never take your Wednesday service away. Okay. And like I said, they'll be done during the day and the evening. So it'll give you an opportunity. Some people can attend during the day and some people can attend during the evening. And I might even have one on the weekend. So
and how will we find out about those dates and times?
I'm asking Constance now if she can send that out either in a newsletter or in a special communication with you all. And so make sure that you're on the newsletter so that you receive that.
And also we'll make a place on the website for it along with everything else.
I want to speak to the weariness that is a part of grief. I am experiencing that in not having a lot of energy for even having questions to ask. Just want to presence this. Maybe others are feeling it also. Thank you for that, Sherry. I'm sure that others are feeling that. I'm sure that, people don't, grief is an interesting thing because sometimes we don't even know it's there. Some of the companions to grief are forgetfulness, losing your keys, walking into a room. Well, of course, that's, I do that all the time anyway, but, walking into a room and forgetting why you're there, sadness and anger and all of that stuff. And sometimes we're ready to talk about that and sometimes we're not. And so sometimes it's really good to just be in the room with other people while they're talking about it, because it can also be, it's one mind, right? And so when somebody else is talking about their grief and how they're handling it or not handling it, that can also aid us in handling our own. So sometimes it's really good just to be there with other people who are experiencing the same thing as you. I did a lot of work at Long Beach Memorial Hospital as a chaplain, and I was really one of the things that really struck me is the different ways that different people experience and handle grief. There's no set way, and there's no set pattern. So it's all over the board, and we all handle grief in our own ways. How long does the process of finding a new head minister typically take? I like that term, head minister, because on Zoom you just have a head minister, right? No, I'm just kidding. So typically an interim will come in for 6 to 8 months, sometimes less, sometimes more. It really kind of depends on when the community feels ready. Because like I said, it's a community for a reason. And so you really want to go through that visioning process to really find the minister that's going to work for this community for the next 5 or 10, 15 years. And it's really, really important to do that visioning process. My core council, we vision every month, and we've been doing it for almost 12 years, the first Wednesday of every month, because we really want, in our vision, in our purpose statement, in our mission statement, we never do anything without asking the question, does this support our mission and our vision? And so, you really want to do that deep work in order to, as we know, the deep work that we do, the deepening of consciousness is what we draw into our lives. And so we want to make sure that this community attracts who they are and what they're looking for the next step in the expansion of this community. Because right now, even through all the grief, there's a huge opportunity that lies before you. And this opportunity that lies before you is the expansion and the evolvement of Oakland Community for Spiritual Living. So even through the grief, this is an exciting moment. And so we want to make sure that we support you in the grief and in the excitement of drawing into you the next perfect minister for Oakland. And that was a long way of saying 6 to 8 months, maybe. Yes, sleeping, not sleeping, exacerbated some health. Yes, all of that is grief. And I suggest that you, for anybody who is really grief is affecting, that you really begin a practice of seeing a practitioner. They can really, really support you in the grief process. And you have some mighty fine practitioners, let me just say. And then there are the vaccinations. Yes. And then there are the vaccinations. And then there's COVID. My goodness. Has anybody else gained 10 pounds besides me during COVID? That's crazy. I'm never making bread again. When do we get to meet in person? Well, I'm in Kentucky, so y'all can come and see me anytime. I think our time is just about up. Oh, you mean you want me to come there? I probably will not be there for the next 2 months. I probably will not. All y'all are going to see me on Zoom because I'll be the head minister.
Thank you, Reverend Soni, for your wonderful humor. It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. We got to laugh sometimes, right?
Right.
God is joy. Come on.
Amen.
Absolutely.
And you've done this before, right? So.
This is not my first rodeo.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So
you're very welcome.
So my time is up, but I look forward to seeing you all and meeting you all at a deeper level in the coming weeks. And feel free to email me. I adore all of you already. I love this community, and it's an honor to be here to support you in the next couple of months on this transition, this exciting time, as well as this healing and revealing of the truth time. So y'all come see me sometime.
Thank you, and thank you all your mothers. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day, and I think stay on for prayer. Is that right?
Oh, right.
Yes.
Ciao, Bella.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Barbara.
Happy birthday, Barbara. Which Barbara is that?
Barbara Williams just had, what number was it, Barbara? 90 something? 93?